work related to cannabis, related to social justice. And that makes me really happy because it was super sad to realize that the place I thought could be a community and like community outreach type place didn't become that at all. And so it's really nice how the work that I did though led me to here. So super grateful. That's my experience with like getting into the industry. I definitely had a connection, but I also like, it was so weird how, yeah, full circle, Janet, exactly. And yeah, like Asia said, friendship is radical. And I'm like, without that, like, you know, I would like unalive myself. So we're grateful. We're grateful. I'm also grateful for, I just want to say, because I know this is part of like the flyer for this event, like I love TikTok. I just have to say that because TikTok and everybody during the pandemic, like there's thousands, I would say millions of people on TikTok, and everybody's an expert in their own life and their own practice. And when you get to see like a plethora of information that you probably would have never been exposed to, it's amazing. It's amazing. I want to say shout out to Janet really quick. I was like a bystander when she was having a communication class where they were talking about how, because our language is so shaped by the patriarchy, women have had to like find different routes of like, have had to create like whole different sets of languages to be able to even explain how they feel. And I feel like TikTok has really given me a lot of words, has given me a lot of like expressions. There's so many like how to say this, how to communicate this. And so that's why I'm like an advocate for TikTok as well, because like it's just more information than you would know by yourself. And also one more shout out to Janet. She was like, she's my sibling, Selena's my sibling as well. And like Janet had a queer relationship before I ever got into this one. And that was really like, I never even considered it for myself until the pandemic. But I am really grateful that she was able to like, you know, pound the path for that to be okay, even a little bit in my family, because I still have a fear of like expressing queerness or even like cannabis use with my dad. The cannabis use, I kind of came out of the closet about that a long time ago, like when I was working for the dispensary, because I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to tell him how legitimate this like business is. Like there's a union, you know, there's like there's going to be health insurance, you know, there's people who are creating stocks for cannabis. And it was with that he was like, oh yeah, that's legitimate. But there hasn't been that communication with him yet on like my queerness. But because Janet has paved the way for me, like there's a way for me to connect with my dad about it that isn't going to be like a total shock. So shout out to literally everyone here. I'm a mosaic of all of you, 100%. And I just love it. I just love it. I just love it. Thank you. Thank you.
I love that. I love that you said that you're a mosaic, because I feel like you kind of like radiate this energy like a disco ball, you know. That's what it's been an absolute pleasure like getting to work with you, especially with our young fellowship, our mentorship that the Social Impact Center has created. Did you want to speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me do my like introduction, which was hella long. Thank you for that. But yes, the work that I'm doing with the Social Impact Center is research-based like education. We're creating presentations that we're going to be like demonstrating to people that work close to cannabis or within cannabis, to kind of share with them more about like how to do diversity right, how to do inclusion right, how social equity can actually be for the people instead of just for a business. I'm really excited for this upcoming presentation that we have planned, which is going to be like a pre-recorded thing for this. I'm not quite sure yet, but we're creating a presentation on how to do like honest diversity and inclusion. And I'm really excited just because like, I wouldn't have thought that I could be here. And, you know, this is like something this is the second presentation that we've done, but the first presentation, if I may share a little bit about that, like Danny, Abigail, and I, and Felicia, Rob, and Des from the Social Impact Center, we organized a presentation on kind of like the history of cannabis. And this was specific for a company that does cannabis advertising, because because cannabis is federally illegal, there's a lot of businesses who can't even do work with a dispensary, even if they're not a cannabis service product themselves. There's a lot of like red tape. So you can avoid that by becoming a cannabis specific type of business. And so that's what this company did. They're a cannabis specific advertising agency. And so when we were given the presentation, it blew my mind, because like we had prepared for it so long. And what I didn't really prepare for was who the audience was going to be. It was heavily white, which, you know, I should have expected, but it was still like, oh, I'm about to tell all these white people like how old ass history is affecting how they think, even though they might not think it does. So it was such an amazing time to have like that safe space for myself. I don't consider it a safe space for them. Like, I'm not trying to make a safe space for them. I'm trying to make a safe space for myself so I can share this information without kind of like having the same thing happen to me. Not just like being fired, but being like targeted for something like that. And so it was so cool. And I feel super grateful that so what the Social Impact Center is basically a hub. It's a bridge. Like, the Social Impact Center is this, and people come together to do work together to create social impact. And I got first connected with the Social Impact Center because I volunteered for National Expungement Week, which is a week designated for getting people's records expunged of like old cannabis charges, of like old charges that probably are like not even illegal now. So because California doesn't have that like process, it should be automatic. States should have it automatic that if cannabis becomes legal, everyone who's in jail for selling weed, having weed, buying weed should be released, should have their record expunged, because that is a paperwork that goes against you every single time. And so I volunteered for the National Expungement Week to create like food bundles for people who were also coming into these community centers, not just for something like getting their record expunged, but for also like getting food and other types of information that they might need. And from there, honestly, I would love to share how like I feel like Felicia was like super impressed with something I did that first day, which was like getting into the trash. I got into the trash to literally make it smaller, but I was just like, there's a way around this. Like I was so eager to like find a solution for something like that she was like, I can see that you want to do some other shit. And I was like, I do. I don't want to just be in the trash. I want to help. So that's the work that I do at the Social Impact Center. That's how I got connected with them. That's the work that's we're going to be doing. And I imagine that as we like continue to develop this program and maybe have even more like youth fellows, then we can create presentations for the public who are just interested. Because right now we are doing this for like for businesses, so we can sell it to them so that they can be like, yeah, we want to do diversity. Like, can you teach us? And we're like, yeah, for like a price, because this takes a lot of work to be able to kind of like break it down in 20 slides, like hundreds years worth of history. And I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it too. And I have the privilege to spend time with Madison and Abigail and Nia to help create these wonderful presentations. Have you always been gravitated towards like social justice?
I would say, yeah, like my major was sociology throughout college, and it varied when it was like like my specific campus had like 6 different programs for sociology, because sociology is like an intersection of everything. It's like a study of society, which is like everything. So my first direction was like medical sociology, but that was like more gerontology classes than I would have wanted. which I could have benefited from. But nonetheless, I switched it to communications, and I added on the layers of like the minors of film and media and GIS. The GIS class was what was the class that I made that research project for, because geographic information system says that maps mean something. Like, that's why there's redlining. That's why trains are built in specific areas and not in others, you know? But I was always interested in social justice because I feel like, I mean, I'm recently queer because I'm in a queer relationship, but I feel like I've been queer my whole life. And I always thought that, you know, something's not right here. And that's what made me tune into social justice. And like, I've yet to tune out. So I think we're good. I think we're good.
Oh, I love that you're a new queer baby. Are
Baby
there
gay. Oh yeah.
are there any folks on here that want to give some words of encouragement for Madison?
I think coming at her and knowing that we have the same father, for some people it's like it's a protection of you to like not disclose your status, I guess, in that way of like queerness. Unfortunately, that is the way for our like very traditional father. Although he knows that I'm queer, it's he definitely erases that part of me to love me as a whole. So I'm glad I took the damage, but I would say protect both of my sisters and just anybody who is queer. Like I think people have that intuition to know like who they disclose that information to and like who they can feel safe around, you know? And that's just the whole thing about like knowing who your family is and who you feel comfortable with and who's going to accept you as a whole.
That is so sweet. I think like for me, like I kind of came out forcefully. Like I was like called out. Well, I actually called myself out, but you know, the especially our parents, like our parents want like the best for us, you know, and they envision you a certain way, and sometimes that's not what it is. And as long as you follow your path, like that is distinctly your own, you're going to be good, because you're going to find folks in your community that are going to love you for who you are, you know. And you know, part of being a queer person too is the chosen family that we get to have. And it seems like you have a lot of support behind you. So this is, you know, your life is just starting. So this is like an incredible, I'm so happy I get to witness this, you know. I love it.
I would like to say some words to Madison. Madison, you are a great person. I encourage you to not give up on everything that you're doing. And as you mentioned, you know, you thought that leaving from that other job was like a little, you know, bad during the pandemic, but it turned out into something great. And now you're here not only encouraging other people, but you're here to support the community and do so much more than that. And you have so much talent. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Abigail, did you want to share?
Yes, I do. Let me lower this hand down. Yeah, Madison, I just want to tell.
You muted. You muted.
Oh, I am muted. Okay, cool. Good thing I didn't say much. I said, I just wanted to say that you're an amazing person, Madison. I remember where we met because you actually came to one of where you were saying the expungements. And so we were organizing, you know, a lot of bags for 7 different hubs. And so I didn't recognize you because the second time that you came around, you know, your hair. But I remember you with dyed hair. You had pink hair. And so it's so funny because I think what connected us was when I was just like, I had left a rolled up blunt because we couldn't smoke. And so I left a rolled up blunt and I was just, you know, it was the end of the day. We were so hectic everywhere. I had gotten into a car accident. I think you met me in a neck brace. I had a back brace and neck brace. So, you know, I was kind of like pandemic, staying away from people, like, you know, high risk and blah, blah, blah. And so I remember I was so tired. I was like, I just need to smoke a blunt. And so I had a blunt rolled up and I was just like, where is it? I was looking for it in the car, but I was already in the freeway. And I was getting to the freeway and I was telling my sister, turn around. Like, we got to go back for that blunt. I need to go back for that blunt. Like, I don't have no more weed. Like, that's all I was. It was already rolled. Like, and I'm like a hardcore like smoker. So if you know me, you know I blow smoke. So I was just like, I'm going back for that blunt. And so we didn't end up going back because my sister didn't want to go back. We were pretty gonna catch like heck of traffic coming from the valley all the way to LA. And so I was just like, I don't know what happened. And so then I don't know, Madison and I reconnected. And so I told her, I was just like, I don't know how it came up. I was just like, I had a blunt and I don't know what happened to it. And she's just like, oh, I smoked it.
They literally like they were gone and the blunt, there was a loose blunt on the table. I'm just like, whose is this? Nobody. Okay, I'm smoking it. And dude, that blunt was amazing. I like, after working so hard on like loading these food boxes, like we smoked and I was like, whoa, I feel like so much better. And then I was realizing this is hella pain relief. Who was in pain? Oh, probably the girl in a freaking neck brace. So not RIP to the blunt. We honor that blunt. It's connected us. Yes. Yes.
Oh. How long have you been using cannabis?
Yeah, like 2015. Like I would say I started like my own journey with it like junior year of college. That's when I started to live back on campus. Sophomore year I was like living with my grandma, so it's not possible. But then junior year I was like, I finally am like not living with my family, let me get some weed. And it was so, I definitely wrote a paper on it because like the first dispensary I went to was like one of those, it was probably like a legacy shop, like it had like the black bar, blackout windows, and like it was like as soon as you walk in, like right there, like there's like counters right there. I was like, can I just get some weed? And it was like all dudes. And that's why like working at CCA felt so amazing and so different from what I had experienced before, like being in a shop. I was like, wow, I feel so safe. You know what I mean?
Would you ever go back into the cannabis industry?
Absolutely. I love it. I was taken out too soon. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I plan to be in the cannabis industry still. Like, Rob, he had told me about a social equity applicant that is from Echo Park, who's going to be opening a shop in Echo Park, and that they were considering me for that because I still would want to be a budtender. That made me really happy. Like, I don't think I had said that yet. Like, oh, what makes you happy? Like, that made me really happy to be able, like, my favorite people were the people who just spoke Spanish, were like the older people who were like, oh, I don't like how it smells. And it's like, yeah, but you're going to love how it feels.
Oh,
yeah, I miss it. I want to go back. But right now we're in the transition time and that's okay.
So like what kinds of stories come from being a budtender? Are there any distinct stories that like
yes so
pop out in your memory?
Yeah, the first thing I would love to talk about is like when I first started, there was this guy who had a seizure like in the dispensary, and everyone in the shop was like, give him CBD. But because consumption is legally not allowed in there, we couldn't. Like, they had to call the ambulance and everything. But it was just so messed up how like we're selling it. People, we who are selling it are high right now. Like, why can we not help this person who literally would like life-saving event, like help them, you know? I want that to change so bad. Like, consumption lounges are not just for like white rich people that want to like smoke somewhere that's not their house. It's for people who like need it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the stories that pop out for sure. And another one was when I had worked with the union really early on when I first started, because they were trying to unionize MedMen. MedMen had just opened up like their plethora of shops in LA, and they were obviously growing outside of California. And that was a really crucial time to organize the workers. It was like, we need to organize the workers now, or else this business is going to grow exploiting them. And like, obviously they still do, but the union is there to protect them, like it did to me. And so I was like, I invited one of my friends, one of my coworkers, to go with me to this MedMen. And the process for, if a shop is not unionized, the union people cannot just walk in the middle of the day and be like, hey, do you guys want to join a union? They literally had to wait there in the beginning of the day until the end of the day, which is like 11, to be able to get these people, as they were like just about to leave work, and have like a informal little talk for like 10-15 minutes. And I got to share, like, this is why the union is so great. Like, they are supposed to be able to provide you health insurance. They're supposed to like help you with like creating like a literal structure for how you get your pay. No just cash, no just weed, you know, actual payroll, actual infrastructure to make your employees feel like employees. Pay time off, vacation days, or I guess that's sick days, pay time off. Those are things that come from the union. This is not out of the goodness of a dispensary's heart, you know? So when I was saying all of this, it was like to these 4 guys, and I was like, nobody's really listening. That's fine, I guess. But then like one of the guys had came into CCA, like not like the next day, but I think like the few days after. And I was like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And I love to say that my enthusiasm was what he was appealed by. Like, it was like super busy, and I knew how important it was to talk to him though, like not just like brush him off like a customer. Like he came there to talk about it, and he was asking more questions. Like, he wanted to see me, I guess, in the budtender setting, describing the union, and I did. And the union organizers had told me that it was because of that guy's vote that MedMen became unionized. So that was super. I was like, what? And they're like, don't tell, you're not supposed to tell her that. And then the guy, Kevin, was like, I'll tell her though. Like, thank you, Madison. And I was like, what? It just blew my mind that I could have such an impact like that. But at the same time, there's this thing that one of our mentors, Des, said, and she's like, I don't try to wake up the sheep, I try to wake up the lion, type of thing. And I woke up the lion in that dude right there. He was like, I want to know more. Like, I thought I was talking to nobody, but then I found out that I was talking to a lion. So that stands out. And
That's
all the cannabis
incredible.
events I went to, super fun. One of my favorite parts, I'm definitely missing that, like, because of the pandemic, but I have gone to one recently. I went to one this past 420. It was like an outdoors thing, and I stayed outside. It was like a chili cook-off in some house, and I was like, I'll just be outside by the pool. And that felt nice. So I missed that, but I'm going into it again, and I'm excited. Shout out to Joey. I love
you. Does anyone on this call have any questions for Madison from what they talked about so far? Any comments?
I have something, not quite a question, but definitely a comment on how you're inspiring everybody, and I hope that you keep doing it, because, you know, like the first time I met you, I was just starting in the cannabis industry. I was working at seemed to be such a great company, turned out to be such shit companies. And, you know, like we bonded over so many things, and it was just like, you know, like hanging out with you in downtown and like seeing the parks that you go to. Thank you for, you know, like just opening your life to me and to everyone else. So that's really kind of you, and like, you know, compassionate. And that's like what the Social Impact Center is all about. So I'm really happy to have met you.
Shout out to Traz for organizing a park cleanup in front of City Hall that one time. Do you remember? Because I do. Do you remember the time?
was my birthday. Thank you for spending it with me. I really appreciate that. And I have another birthday coming up, and I'm hoping to do something, like in line with Social Impact Center. You guys are all invited. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you keep inspiring people, man. You're just a trooper, man.
That is so beautiful. I love this. I love these moments that are just like unraveling. So I know earlier you mentioned TikTok, and that was part of the programming. I think I met you through the youth fellowship program, and I was so interested in like how you see information and statistics, and you were always talking about TikTok, and I caved in and I downloaded TikTok on my phone. I think you're my only friend on TikTok. But I love it. Like, what kind of information do you look for? Like, do you gravitate towards certain styles of TikToks?
Thank you for asking. So for anyone who's not familiar with TikTok, it's basically like it's a stream of videos that are either curated for you or based off of the people that you follow. The curated page is based off of like when you're initially signing up, there's interest that you can click, right? And then they'll kind of like show you videos based off of that, and it's called the For You page. So FYP, that's also a hashtag that people use so that it'll get like on your For You page. But technicalities aside, my favorite type of TikTok, real quick tangent. Has anybody here ever heard of I know Billy has, but has anybody here heard of like Vine, the app Vine? That's like, it's dead now, but has anybody ever heard of it? I see nods. So the thing with Vine, I feel like as just a viewer, as like an audience person, I saw a lot of like, oh, like this person stole my Vine. This person stole my Vine. And what's beautiful about TikTok is like there's an ethical way of stealing people's Vines. Like there's like a feature where a TikTok video can become an audio, and people can just press that audio and create different TikToks based off of that same audio. Because really, when people are talking about these relatable things, they really are relatable, but to so many different people and in a lot of different ways. So my favorite kinds of TikToks are like looking at like a popular audio and then clicking the audio of it and seeing all the videos that people made of it. And I'm just like, look at how many people relate to this like random audio, and it's beautiful. Also, so your For You page also gives you an idea of like who TikTok thinks you are. So TikTok thinks that I'm a queer person with ADHD who's Latina and lives in Los Angeles, which is not too far off. So, TikTok's algorithm, not bad, but also they definitely like still silence Black people. So we do have to fix it. But yeah.
Do you have a favorite TikTok? That must be hard for you.
It is. I have so many. I would love to hear other people's like favorite TikToks or like the first TikToks that come to mind. Julie, ¿tienes TikTok?
I really like the TikToks where it's like making lunch for my husband, and they're like preparing all the stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so domestic, but it's also like I want to do that.
It's very ASMR. It gives me visual ASMR vibes, and I'm just like, yeah, it is domestic, but I cannot stop looking. I really love oh god. I don't even know. There's literally so many. I would say Janet sent me a funny one the other day, which was like the audio of a little girl, and she's like, I like to wear sparkly dresses. And then next sound is like, ah! And then it's like It's just so weird and funny. I like it. I like it a lot. I like to wear sparkly dresses.
Yeah, it's actually really cool because like I think now in a generation where like we expect news to be 24/7, you know, like the outlets and things like that to have the sense of immediacy and the attention that we need. Like we only need a couple of seconds to understand what's going on. I think that's what's fascinating, but it's also making things kind of speed up like a little much, don't you think?
Yes. Also, I remember my favorite TikTok. I'm gonna act it out. Okay. Hold on, you've been scrolling for way too long. Why don't you go get a glass of water, go get some sleep, and then come back? These TikToks will be waiting for you. There's like 2 of those TikToks that like if you're on your For You page for too long, those people will come up and they're like, so you're totally right about that. Like, yes, it is a lot. And that's why TikTok created those like videos too, so that like they can be on your while you're scrolling to remind you, you've been on your phone for too long. And I just think it's funny. Everyone hates it. Janet, you say you hate him, but I love him. I think he's for the people. So
Do you like to disconnect? Do you like to, you know, take a break? You don't like to take a break?
never. I love to take a break though. Like when I'm visiting my parks, I just haven't, you know, we're indoors. And that's why I've been seeing that man a lot too. I'm just like, I get it. I've been on my phone for hours on end. But I hope that when it's not as dangerous anymore, that I'll be able to go back into my park project, because that's definitely, thank you for mentioning that, Traz. Like I haven't done any new updates on that because part of me just doesn't feel comfortable going out, even in a park when like people are so about like, I'm not gonna wear a mask. And I'm just like, well, I just won't go outside then. And yeah, that's like a little defeatist, but I want to feel safe at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard, especially like when people don't like respect the community. Like that is so it's shocking, but then I'm not surprised, you know, like it's those true colors that come out. And I think you're doing it right. But I mean, once we open up, do you have any plans? Like, do you like to travel? Do you like to try new things?
I love to visit parks. Like Los Angeles has over 420 parks and I've only seen like 40 of them. And I hope to see all of them. That's honestly my goal. Like there's supposed to be like 444. I have only visited 40. So I have like 400 to go. That's my dream, honestly. Like if I'm gonna show something with you guys real quick.
I love this interaction. I did not expect this.
There was this I made this book. I got this book
Oh wow.
made from like one of those like sites that like, let's make your Instagram post into books. So I made it to put like all my park stuff in it. This is like my little intro that I made for anybody who reads it. But this has like all like my project on Instagram is part park, part art. So this is the book that is kind of like the collection of all of those posts, because I miss it. I miss being out there in nature. Like these are some shout out to my sister Selene, his sister Soy. This is my favorite park, Vista Hermosa Park. I'm just gonna go through these. But yeah, this is LA State Historic Park by Chinatown. We got a park in Highland Park. We got like a little pocket park and like some data. I love me some data. Love me some maps. We got like the Silver Lake Meadow. This is like an homage to my first art show. My first art show was like March 2020, but then the pandemic hit, you know. But shout outs to everybody that came. I love you all so much.
What kind of art do you make?
I make this. Like I make my medium is Sharpie or permanent marker against like poster board paper so that it's like not just flimsy paper. But yeah, I got art like all over my house. Look, I got this. This.
Why do you like Sharpies?
Yeah, I started this in college. Like, it's affordable. It's more affordable than like acrylic paints or like the whole setup. Look at this.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah. Like I am an artiste first and foremost. But yeah, that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to do art shows when that comes around. I'm so excited. I'm excited to visit parks again. These are my passions. Estos son mis pasiones. Yeah, that's what I'm excited for. Thank you for asking.
Wow, I learn new things about you every day. This is awesome. So we're getting close to the end of our queer check-in. Are there any last questions for Madison? Or any comments?
I don't know. Billy's partner had a question in the chat for Madison. Was that for Madison?
No, he was asking, I think, because someone said, like, I appreciate the space or something. And he thought I was in group therapy. And I was like, no, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, so just a little bit about the future. Are there any future projects you want to shout out, Madison?
Next Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a Zoom with Canna Club. It's like a student-led group at UCLA focusing on cannabis and cannabis rights and all that kind of jazz. We're going to be doing a presentation on cannabis workers, and it's going to be LGBTQ in cannabis. That's the name of the Zoom. So I hope y'all can make it there. I will definitely send you guys the links. That way I know getting links sometimes can be a hassle, but if you just reach me directly, I will definitely provide that. I'm excited for that. Also, abolish ICE. Kids are still in cages, and we don't care that it's a Democratic president. They're still there.
Yeah. Oh.
That's
well,
awesome.
I do want to finish on a small little exercise, if you don't mind. We are with the Social Impact Center. We are collaborating with Somos Familia Valle, and we are doing San Fernando Valley Pride at North Hollywood Park, June 19th, and we're working on a video. So for folks that are interested, on the count of 3, all you got to do is say Happy Pride, and you'll be in our video. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Happy Pride. Oh, this was so lovely. I just want to thank everyone on here. I want to thank Madison. I feel so silly and so giggly every time I talk to you. And I think that's such a beautiful thing and a beautiful characteristic. And getting to know you and just you letting yourself, like, being vulnerable and sharing your story is so powerful. I just want to thank you for that.
Makes me so cozy inside. Sheesh, I love it. Sheesh. That's a good TikTok where it's like, sheesh, sheesh. It's like angelic chorus TikTok. We love it. Yes.
All right.
Thank you everybody for being here. I love it so much. Oh, you guys are all amazing. I love you all, my friends. You're my chosen family for reals. Oh, mwah, 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 mwah. Love you. I love you. Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye.